Protect your car with 3W Liners all-weather floor mats. Made from durable materials like TPE and rubber, our mats are designed to withstand rain, snow, and mud with deep grooves to trap dirt and liquids. For a custom fit and advanced protection, visit 3W Liners. That's the number 3, WLINERS.com today. Cases, innovation drives us. Since 2008, we've been creating cutting-edge technology products that make your life easier. With a focus on performance, design, and customer service, we're here to help you work smarter, not harder. Join us on our journey to simplify your world. Visit acasis.com today. That's ACASIS.com today.
Farmhounds offers natural treats and chews made with quality products that support family farms, regenerative agriculture, and humane farming practices. Give your dog the best with wholesome, organic ingredients that promote health and happiness. Shop now at farmhounds.com. Unlock a world of convenience with Mully Box, your one-stop solution for personalized subscription boxes delivered right to your door. From gourmet snacks to unique finds, each box is tailored to your tastes. Experience the joy of surprises. Subscribe today at mullybox.com. That's MULLYBOX.com. We are Rogue Media Sports.
Hello And welcome back to another week of The Cam Show, powered by Rogue Media Sports Network. It's called that because I'm your host, Cam Stewart. Zach Burke keeps us on the air 5 days a week. Boy, do we have some more hockey lined up for you. We have got, of course, as you've seen in the thumbnail, the top 3 Bruins bounce-back candidates. As in, like, if these guys can bounce back, then the Bruins actually have a shot at the postseason, as crazy as that might seem right now. We'll go over those guys, and really the list could be even longer. Plus, we'll stick with the Bruins, and we'll talk about the player that they've completely forgotten about, who's a huge part of their future. We will bring him back to the forefront, tell you who that is and why he's a big part of their future, and then we will talk a little baseball. Red Sox, Trevor Story. I got an issue, an apology, man. I wrote this dude off. He was the worst hitter in the league 2 months ago. Look at him now. He's going to win AL Player of the Week, and the Red Sox are on a bit of a roll. They're playing minor league teams, but they're on a bit of a roll, and Trevor Story is a huge reason why. We'll go over the eye-popping numbers and all that and more coming up on this episode of The Cam Show. We start where we start. Things are not looking great for the Bruins right now. They weren't a playoff team last year. They were one of the worst teams in hockey, and they haven't exactly gotten better going into 2025-26. But that said, maybe they can fix some of their woes through the guys that are already on their roster. We could have made this a lot more than 3 players that need to bounce back big, but we are going to keep it at 3 players who need to bounce back big, with a couple of honorable mentions as well. So without any further ado, if these 3 players can turn it around for the Bruins, they can make a legitimate playoff push in the Atlantic Division. Number 3, Charlie McAvoy. This one might seem a little harsh to some fans that I'm putting Charlie McAvoy as a huge bounce-back candidate because he missed 32 games of the 2024-25 season, had the AC joint injury, the weird staph infection at the Four Nations. It cuts his season short in February. So obviously, like, I'm not holding that against him, but let's be honest here. Even before the injury, this was not the Charlie McAvoy that we had seen in years past. He's really on a down year and a half, say. And that doesn't mean he's a bad player. By no stretch of the imagination is he a bad first pairing defenseman, but we've seen a precipitous decline in his production on both ends in all 3 zones, really for the last year and a half or so. And part of that, I think, was gelling with the Jim Montgomery kind of style that I don't think was necessarily best suited for Charlie McAvoy, and then trying to get out of that and suddenly being by far the best defenseman that the Bruins had. There's just been a lot on Charlie McAvoy's plate the last few years. Obviously, missing the 32 games to end the season, but in 50 games last year, he was still a plus minus of 0, okay? Even nothing special in that department for a team that was pretty bad defensively and really needed a lot of help there. He was not good on the puck at all. Even in 50 games, he had given up the puck 15 more times than his next high for an entire season. Like, that's incredible to set your season high by 15 giveaways in 32 less games than you actually play in a full regular season. So that's not great. And it's all part of this kind of decline is the word I'll use, although it seems harsh. But we really thought that Charlie McAvoy was going to enter the stratosphere of top 5 or 10 defensemen in the NHL just a few years ago. He had 2 Norris Trophy top 5 finishes in 2021 and 2022. And since then, the Bruins were even better in 23, and McAvoy was still not in that highest echelon. Like, it kind of felt like we were waiting for Charlie McAvoy to take that Adam Fox step, right? Like that was the guy he was compared to for so long. They came in at a similar time. They play a similar style, both playing, for original 6 teams in the Northeast, both played their college hockey in Boston. They've been compared a ton. And it looked like McAvoy was entering that stratosphere. Adam Fox went out and actually won a Norris Trophy and was one of the most elite, if not the most elite defenseman in the league for a good 2-season stretch there. McAvoy didn't quite hit that. We know Fox's production has dipped as well, but so has Charlie McAvoy. And I think the biggest disappointment is he's just not been a threat offensively, specifically on the power play. This was a guy who looked great quarterback in the power play for a couple of seasons under Bruce Cassidy, and that certainly did not carry over to the Jim Montgomery era, and it didn't carry over into the few games he played under Joe Sacco as well. His power play points production has gone down from 21 to 19 to 13 points in the last 3 seasons that he has played. So now that kind of begs the question, who is Charlie McAvoy going to play with to start this season? You know, is he going to play with Nikita Zadorov, a guy who's super physical, that kind of gets Charlie McAvoy out of his cage a little bit with the physicality, like we saw with Team USA? He was an absolute force in the 4 Nations games that he played because he was playing with a serious edge. Does Nikita Zadorov bring that out of him? Or do you just play him with Elias Lindholm, who probably should be your second best defenseman? He's a left shot. Maybe let's not play around with it. And they both have some puck carrying ability. They're both decently physical players, and they're both defensively sound. Maybe you just put those 2 guys up at the top, but they're both coming off of pretty significant injuries. Or do you go with Mason Lohrei, a guy who's going to be a big part of your future, obviously still has some kinks to work out on the defensive side? That's a guy who could be in your first pairing. He could also be in your third pairing. There's a lot of different ways you can go with Lohrei, but he takes some risks. He's obviously a great puck carrier, great at exiting the zone, heck of a shot. And maybe McAvoy is just kind of playing rover and making up for some of Mason Lohrei's mistakes so that he can learn against some of the top pairings in the NHL. And then that comes to the power play. Is Mason Lohrei running the power play? He's did it better last year than McAvoy was doing it. And it seemed like McAvoy almost didn't even want to be running the quarterback on the power play anymore. Lohrei, I think, gives you more than McAvoy does in those offensive situations. But of course, Lohrei is not nearly the defenseman that Charlie McAvoy is. So number 3 on the list, Charlie McAvoy needing to be a bounce back candidate. I do want to know who you guys are thinking should be the bounce back candidates for the Bruins. Those of you watching live, get involved in the comment section below. Those of you watching afterwards, tell me who you think should be on this list for bounce back candidates. Like the video, subscribe to the channel as we give you Bruins content 5 days a week live on YouTube and then wherever you get your podcasts as well. Let's move it over to number 2. Number 2 on this list of guys who really, really need to step it up for the 2025-26 Boston Bruins, Elias Lindholm. Yeah, this one's not much of a surprise, is it? You went out and you spent $7.75 million a year over 7 years to get Elias Lindholm in free agency last year. You got him to be your number 1 center, your true Patrice Bergeron replacement, and he was anything but. And you saw him playing up and down the lineup last year because of it. In fact, most of the season, he was the 3rd line center. You were paying almost $8 million a year for a 3rd line center. Just absolutely cannot have it. And what's crazy, for as bad a year as Elias Lindholm had offensively, he had more points last year than he did the year before when the Bruins actually went out and got him in free agency. He had 44 points in 23-24. 47 on 17 goals and 30 assists. And I believe the only Bruins forward to play all 82 games in 2025. He just didn't give you anything offensively. And it felt like when he was scoring, it was almost by accident. He's a guy you couldn't play on the power play and one that you couldn't afford to put on the top line with Morgan Geekie and David Pastrnak. It got to the point where Pavel Zacha, who is a middle 6 winger, was playing first line center because Elias Lindholm just couldn't do it. And was he solid defensively? Sure, he was. And this next stat I'm going to give you is not the end-all, be-all of defensive ability. But this is a guy who gets Selke votes pretty often in his career. And for him to be a -4, to be your best defensive forward, that's just a bit of a letdown. And you saw that, again, in how he was moving up and down the lineup throughout the year. Wasn't anything to write home about on the power play. 14 power play points for a team that had no offensive skill, so he was slotted in there quite a bit on the power play. 14 points on the man advantage in all 82 games. That's not very great. And it comes back to our worst fears about Elias Lindholm when the Bruins went out and got him in free agency. Because you look at the couple of years ago when he was a point-a-game guy, 82 points in 82 games. And when you look at his career stats, you realize he's not that. He's not that player. Elias Lindholm is much closer to a 40-point guy than he is to an 80-point guy or even a 60-point guy. But you get your judgment clouded when he's playing on a first line where his wingers are Johnny Gaudreau and Matthew Tkachuk. Like, that's a huge difference. And his point values go down from 82 points in 21-22 to 64 in 22-23 and then 44 in 23-24. What magically happened in there between the end of 21-22 and the beginning of 23-24? Well, they lost their 200-point wingers, Johnny Gaudreau and Matthew Tkachuk. Once those guys left, once he stopped playing with two of the top 10 wingers in all of hockey, the numbers dropped humongously. And somehow he still got the massive contract from the Bruins, who were desperate to say, oh, here you go, number one center right here, franchise guy. Elias Lindholm is not that. So I almost didn't put him on this list because what does a bounce back look like for Elias Lindholm? God love him, he might just be a 45-point guy. Like, that just might be who he is. I think he needs to provide more for you on the power play because that's something that was so bad for the Bruins last year, and it's something he can be better at. But he just might not be much better than 47 points in an 82-game season. Before we get to number one, I do want to go over a couple of honorable mentions. The first one is Hampus Lindholm. Obviously, he missed the entire last season, and so that's basically why I didn't put him in here. You know, McAvoy was not very good in the first 50 games. He was okay. So I justified that by saying he needs a bounce back. Hampus Lindholm basically missed the whole season. He looked pretty good in the first couple of weeks, but he also wasn't very good in 23-24. His numbers dropped off precipitously from 22-23 when I thought he should have been a Norris finalist to the 23-24 season. He looked a little bit better in the postseason and certainly in the first couple of weeks of 24-25, but I didn't feel it was fair to put him on this list. But I do think there are a lot of Bruins fans who are just banking on him being a huge part of this team next year. And all I'm saying is, he's coming off a major injury. Maybe let's slow the roll a little bit. The other honorable mention is Pavel Zacha. And I didn't put him on the list for the same reason I almost kept Elias Lindholm off. But Pavel Zacha needs to be better. He's another one of those guys like Elias Lindholm who makes the most of having the talent around him. He gels well with David Pastrnak, but it didn't exactly lead to huge numbers last year. In fact, he only had 47 points, which is better than most of his years in New Jersey. But coming off of back-to-back seasons where he had 57 and 59 points, it was a big drop-off, even though the time on ice is the most that he's ever had in his career. Playing first-line center, playing with two 30-plus goal scorers, you would imagine that he'd have more than 47 points. Within that, he only had 14 goals coming off of back-to-back 20-goal seasons. Going into this past year, he had 22 more giveaways in this season than his previous career high, and he had 43 less hits than he had in 23-24. It's a guy who was just out there getting cardio, wasn't doing much in any of the three zones, offensively, defensively, just didn't give you a lot. So who is the number one candidate for the bounce back year for the Boston Bruins? I think it goes without saying. Number one, biggest need of a bounce back for the entire team, no doubt, Jeremy Swayman. I mean, who else could I have gone with here? 8 years by $8.25 million for a goalie and a huge drop off from 23-24 to 24-25. He was an all-star in 2024. He stole all of our hearts in the postseason when he was just excellent, basically stole a series against Toronto and was the only reason you got the 6 games against Florida. And the biggest stat in that postseason was his goal save above expected. That led the entire postseason, and he was out in the second round. He was just left out to dry quite a lot, and he was making huge saves. This was not the year of Jeremy Swayman. It all starts with the contract negotiations that probably got way too out of hand and got too dramatic. And I don't think either side, the Bruins nor the player, looked good coming out of this situation. I know he was taking some shots at BU's practice rink, but this dude didn't have a preseason. He was not ready to come into the season. And the 2024-25 campaign almost felt like a punishment to Jeremy Swayman. We're going to put you out there for 58 games, far and away your career high. We went out and got a backup goalie who's taken a pretty sizable cap hit for how bad he is in the position he plays, and we're just not going to play him. Like, Sway, it's your show. Go out there and prove it to us. He was not good. He was setting career lows, career worse, I should say. He was setting career worse for goals against average, save percentage, 3.11 goals against average, 892 save percentage in 58 games, where he had a sub 500 record of 22, 29, and 7. Gave up the most goals of any starting goaltender in the entire league, and had these really bad starts. And that's not just me saying it. That's an actual stat on hockeyreference.com. Really bad starts, which is these starts where you have a save percentage of less than 85%. He had 14 of those really bad starts this year. In the 3 full seasons that he had going into 24-25, he had 14 really bad starts total. So it was a really off the map bad kind of year for Jeremy Swayman. And those 14 really bad starts, that was 4th in the entire NHL. And if you want to get into where he ranks amongst his peers, the stat that we go back to, which he was so great in 24 and not as great in 25, is goal save above expected. In the 24 regular season, his goal save above expected was 16.4. That's an elite number. In 25, it was negative 12.6. That was horrible. Among actual starters in the NHL, only Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen and Alexander Georgiev were worse in that category than Jeremy Swayman. And both those guys, specifically Alexander Georgiev, are considered 2 of the worst starting goalies in the entire league. That's the kind of company that Jeremy Swayman was keeping in 2024-25. We know the Bruins' philosophy over the years, through several different head coaches, has focused on having a really strong defense and elite goaltending play. Not good goaltending play, not serviceable goaltending play, but elite goaltending play. It's kind of this weird dichotomy where I don't think you necessarily need to have an elite goaltender, like one of the top 5 goalies in the league, to compete or win the Stanley Cup. I know the last couple of years we've had Andrei Vasilevsky, we've had Sergei Bobrovsky, but in the middle there we had Adin Hill. Before that we had Jordan Binnington, who went nuclear in a postseason, but I wouldn't consider him one of the 5 best goalies in the league at any point, maybe not even one of the top 10 goalies in the league at any point in his career. Braden Holtby in 2018, same thing. Pretty good, not elite kind of goaltending. The Bruins have won over the years with elite goaltending. So if Jeremy Swayman can get back to the hockey that we know he's capable of, that's a huge boost for Boston. And maybe he's starting on that path with having a great World Championships, led the USA to gold, had a shutout in the gold medal game. He was like 7-0, had a sub 2 goals against average. He was unbelievable in that tournament. It's not the NHL, but maybe, just maybe, Jeremy Swayman is on the way back. But to me, he's the most important bounce back candidate for the Boston Bruins going into this 25-26 season. And if he gets back to that all-star form, because we know he's capable of that, and dare I say elite form, because he's getting 8.25 a year, I think that's a reasonable expectation, then the Bruins could steal some points, and that could put them in the playoff picture come April. Jeremy Swayman is the biggest reason why they could get back into that. But let me know what you think in the comment section below. Who needs a bounce back season the most for this Bruins team to succeed? Let me know in the comment section below. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you think the Bruins need a bounce back year. We come to you live on YouTube, high noon Eastern time, every weekday, and then wherever you get your podcasts as well. So check out the other videos on the channel, talking Bruins, talking everything Boston sports. I'm your host, Cam Stewart. Zach Burke keeps us on the air 5 days a week. We will stick with the Bruins because I just mentioned a lot of names, but there's someone that the Bruins and maybe their fans have completely forgotten about that's a huge part of their future. So when will we see him? Let's talk about it next on The Cam Show.
We'll be right back after these quick words from our sponsors. This is Rogue Media Network.
Get paid faster with Bill, the easiest way to send, receive, and manage your payments. No more delays, no more hassle. Whether you're a freelancer or a business, Bill makes payments seamless and secure, simple, fast, and reliable. Sign up today at Bill.com. Overwhelmed by your inbox? Clean Email is here to help. Organize, clean, and manage your emails with powerful automation tools. Say goodbye to spam and clutter and enjoy a stress-free inbox. Try Clean Email today at cleanemail.com. That's CLEAN email.com. Cleanse your body of accumulated toxins and embark on your wellness journey at your own pace. At Global Healing, we provide premium supplements to help your body heal naturally. Combine that with OrganicHemp.com's top quality CBD for ultimate balance. Start your healing journey today at globalhealing.com and OrganicHemp.com. Unlock a world of convenience with Mullybox, your one-stop solution for personalized subscription boxes delivered right to your door. Each box is tailored to your taste. Experience the joy of surprises. Subscribe today at mullybox.com. That's MULLYBOX.com. At Tusane's, we understand that maintaining a healthy lifestyle can be challenging, especially in today's fast-paced world. That's why our mission is to make fitness accessible to everyone, anywhere. Committed to excellence, we adopt a user-centric approach guided by ergonomics and medical science. With a team of seasoned professionals in R&D, design, and manufacturing, we prioritize quality across our entire product line. Visit Tusanes.com today and start your journey to better health. That's TOUSAINS.com.
And now, back to our show.
Back to our show, The Cam Show, powered by Rogue Media Sports Network. I'm your host, Cam Stewart. Zach Burke keeping us on the air as he does 5 days a week. Y'all following along, get involved. The comment section below, we just went over the 4 or 5, it's really 3, but 4 or 5 bounce back candidates that the Bruins need to have bounce back in order to make a playoff push and get back to the postseason in 2025-26. It's a tall order. I'm going to be the first one to admit that. But if they get bounce back years from those guys, they can really make a push. So check that out if you missed it. Of course, all the segments go up on YouTube later today as well. Now we'll talk about some of the guys that you've maybe forgotten about. Okay, sticking with the Bruins. This is a retool, rebuild year for the Bruins. I lean more towards rebuild. Don Sweeney says retool. But either way, you're going to need contributions. There you go. You're going to need contributions from your young crop of talent. And we've seen it over the years. You don't need me telling you. This prospect pool has been as bad as any in the NHL the last 5, 6, 7 seasons. They just have not had plug-and-play NHL guys ready to come up from Providence. This year, they've got a couple. And that's why the offseason so far has been so confusing to me for the Bruins, because you extended a bunch of these AHL guys and then you brought in fourth liners. So you're not going to play them at the NHL level. And that to me is super frustrating. We've seen guys like Fabian Lysell and Georgi Merkulov over the last couple of years who have been, I'm not sitting here saying they're going to be NHL All-Stars or anything, but let's see what they've got. Let's see what they can do, especially at the end of last year when the team sucked. Like, just give them a shot. And still it felt like 1 foot in, 1 foot out. And one of the guys we were really excited about 2 years ago now feels like he's been forgotten entirely by the Boston Bruins. I'm talking about Matthew Poitras. When are we going to see Matthew Poitras on this team? Because the thing that worries me is going into opening night, the Bruins can send Matthew Poitras and Fraser Minton down to Providence, and they won't have to clear waivers. So that tells me that they are 1,000% going to do exactly that. Matthew Poitras has done what he can do at the AHL level. This guy needs to be playing in the NHL. And we'll find out if he can survive in this league. There's all kinds of talk of, he needs to get better at this, needs to get better on the power play. He's too small. He's 5'11", he's 180, whatever he is. Like, he can't survive the grind of an NHL season. Well, the only way we're going to find out if he can survive the grind of an NHL season is if he plays an NHL season. Got hurt 2 years ago after playing quite a bit in the first part of that centennial season in 23-24, went to the World Juniors. He got hurt. He missed most of the rest of the season. Last year, he was up and down to the tune of he's only played 66 NHL games in the last 2 seasons. And while the production, you could want more, 26 points in 66 games, he hasn't looked lost out there. And he hasn't looked completely overmatched by the physicality and the skill that comes at the NHL level. In fact, the second half of the season, when he was up there last year, he looked like your most offensively skilled bottom 6 guy by far. He was bringing you a much needed spark of offense, puck carrying, puck movement. I thought he was actually really sharp in the last couple of weeks of the season. And yet that's why it's so frustrating for Bruins fans if we see him at Providence at the beginning of this season. Played 40 games in Providence last year where he had 41 points, 17 goals, 24 assists. He needed to get better on the power play. He got better on the power play. 7 power play goals, had a couple of postseason power play goals as well in 8 games. Shot percentage of 23%. Now, I know a lot of people out there are going to say, well, that's not sustainable. 23%. That means he's not much of a goal scorer if he's only getting 17 goals in 40 games on 23% shooting percentage. Yeah, you can say that's unsustainable. To me, what that also says is he's already played it at this level. Okay, what more do you want him to do at this level? He needs the next level. He needs to play in the NHL for 80 games, man. Like, you've got to see what you have here. The Blackhawks, who I saw play a bunch last year living in Chicago, they were horrible. They knew they were horrible, but these kids played every night. They weren't sending guys down and bringing them back up. They weren't doing this half in, half out crap that the Bruins did all of last year. And it looks like they're going to do again this year with the bottom 6 guys that they signed in free agency. They just let their guys learn the lessons. They knew they were going to suck. If you want to say that's bad for their mentality, that's one thing. But these guys are learning physically how to play in the NHL night in, night out. They know what the rebuild is. The Bruins have stunted their own rebuild by keeping Matthew Poitras and Fabian Lysell and Georgi Merkulov, and at the end of the season, Fraser Minten, down in Providence. There comes a point with these guys that it doesn't make any sense anymore. In the case of Merkulov and Lysell, they're 24, 25 years old. Like, what good is it going to do to keep them in the AHL? Matthew Poitras, younger, going to turn 22 in December. Fraser Minten, I think only about 21 as well. Like, those guys are younger, but they're also your 2 top forward prospects at this point, and you're probably not going anywhere this year. I would rather see Fraser Minten and Matthew Poitras out there than Sean Corrali and Johnny Beecher, career Jag guys. Okay, they're not giving you much. I'd at least love the promise of seeing these young kids. And there has been a projection out there that I actually really like. It's the flowchart line projections for the Bruins in 2025-26. And what they've got is a third line with Tanner Jeannot on the left wing, Matt Poitras, naturally a center, playing on the right wing, and Fraser Minten centering that third line. To me, I'll take that. I'll take that 10 times out of 10. Fraser Minten is probably going to be a bit of a better center than Matt Poitras, although I do think Poitras can be a center in this league. Needs to get better on faceoffs. But if you're worried about how slight he is, fine. Stick him out on the wing, and the other wing is an absolute nail gun in Tanner Jeannot. I don't love the Tanner Jeannot signing. I never will. But this is a spot where he's actually going to play a serious role for you, where he's kind of babysitting more or less these younger, slighter lads in the bottom 6 like Fraser Minten and Matthew Poitras. But this was a guy, man, his skill looked like it jumped off the chart in 23-24, those first couple of months before the World Juniors. Maybe it's because we're just not used to young guys with a ton of skill. But there was a thought there that this could be your next David Krejci, your next Patrice Bergeron. I don't think the kid's going to become a Hall of Famer like those guys, but he definitely shows some of the traits, the puck carrying that those guys had. I think he can play a full 200-foot game like Patrice Bergeron did. Obviously, again, not to that level that Patrice Bergeron did it, but I think there is a path for Matthew Poitras to be one of your top 6 centers in the very near future. And if you're looking at these line charts and the future of the Bruins, he kind of has to be that, right? I mean, we've learned the hard way over the last 2 seasons. Those top 6 centers, let alone a number 1 center, do not grow on trees, and they usually don't make it to market in the NHL. And even when they do, the Bruins don't pay premium value for the best free agents. They pay premium value for Elias Lindholm, which is certainly not one of those transformational free agents that you can get out there on the market. But these guys don't make it to free agency very often. It's very tough to go out and buy or trade for a number 1 center. So when you have one that could be a top 6 center in your prospect pool, what are we waiting for? Get him up playing in the NHL. Again, I don't think he's going to be on the roster opening night just because I don't think that's how the Bruins are operating. And that sucks because we're really into like Matthew Poitras needs to show us something time. Whether he's going to be a part of your future, whether he's going to be a valuable trade chip for someone that young, we've got to see if Matthew Poitras can do it. He was a guy who was had a ton of hype around him from Bruins fans going in the beginning of the 23-24 season as kind of that future Patrice Bergeron. And now it's like he's been forgotten about. He wasn't on the opening night roster last year. He probably won't be on the opening night roster this year. And to me, I say, why? He needs to be playing NHL games. We need to see if he can be a part of the future of this team. Sooner rather than later, you got to find out if you're going to be paying him long-term, if he's going to be a top 2 center, or if you're going to trade him for a big-time piece. But even going through that chart here, like it still brings up some other problems. Like this, the way it looks right now means Georgi Merkulov doesn't get a chance. It means Fabian Lysell, yet again, doesn't get a chance. So that's where I'm mostly at with the Bruins. It's just giving their young guys a chance, and Matthew Poitras is chief among them. I can't believe that he has been buried so far down the chart. For who? For what? For Tanner Jeannot? For Sean Corrali? For John Beecher? Like Matthew Poitras should be getting a chance over half the guys who are in the bottom 6 for the Bruins right now. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. What do you see Matthew Poitras producing this year? And do you see him as a big part of the Bruins' future? Let me know in the comment section below. Like and subscribe if you are excited for this Bruins season coming up in 25-26 for better or for worse. Let me know what you guys think. Like and subscribe. Find us on YouTube live at high noon Eastern time every weekday, and then wherever you get your podcasts as well. I'm your host, Cam Stewart. Zach Burke keeps us on the air. Check out the other videos on the channel talking Bruins and everything else going on in the world of Boston sports. Speaking of which, I don't like to admit it, but there are sports other than hockey. The Red Sox are on a bit of a heater, albeit against some bad teams. And the reason why is because Trevor Story has turned it all around. I will be issuing my formal apology coming up next on The Cam Show.
We'll be right back after these quick words from our sponsors. This is Rogue Media Network.
When you learn a language with Babbel, you start a journey that takes you further and further. Anytime and anywhere you wish. It's easy and fun. Broadens your horizons and keeps your brain fit. A journey into new thoughts, new cultures, new adventures. So what are you waiting for? Start your journey with Babbel now. Go to babbel.com or download the app.
BadCreditLoans.com is a pioneering service provider that has carved a reputation in the financial industry for its dedication to helping individuals with bad credit secure loans. By making timely repayments, borrowers can gradually repair their credit history, thereby increasing their chances of securing better loan terms in the future. BadCreditLoans.com serves as a beacon of hope for those with bad credit. Simple, fast, and reliable loan application process. And its commitment to responsible borrowing makes it a trusted partner in the journey towards financial stability.
Did you know nearly all stock price changes of 10% or more result from a single news headline? These news catalysts create trading opportunities every day. All you need is a little help to reach out and take them. It doesn't matter if your investment budget is small or big. All you need is Benzinga Pro and its powerful news alerts, price tracking, and portfolio monitoring. Subscribe now, and we'll skyrocket your portfolio today.
BosleyMD.com.
I've always had thin hair my whole life. It breaks off at a certain length. In the last 6 months, I've noticed it just really bad. I mean, you could totally see it. I wear a hat a lot. I tried several different products. My experience with the Bosley MD hair regrowth kit was amazing. It was easy to use. It let me take off my hat. I could go in public and have my picture taken and feel normal again.
BosleyMD.com.
And now, back to our show.
Back to the show. It's the Cam Show, powered by Rogue Media Sports Network, because I'm Cam Stewart, your host, Zach Burke, keeping us on the air. And I'm going to talk about Trevor Story here in a second. I'm going to issue an apology. But while I'm on the path here, on the theme of issuing apologies, there is something serious I need to talk about real quick. Zach and I, we did a segment last week that was our top 10 movies of the 21st century. And it wasn't what I said, but rather what I didn't say that I think I need to apologize for, because we did that on Wednesday. On Wednesday night, my girlfriend and I went to trivia, and in the middle of this, I just had this eureka moment. I absolutely couldn't believe it. I need to issue an apology. The fact that I did not have Napoleon Dynamite in the top 10 movies of the 21st century is absolutely insane, asinine, jail-worthy offense. Like, I cannot believe that. That is absolutely one of my favorite movies ever made. I've seen it probably a legit 50 or 60 times. I can quote pretty much everything from it, and I tested that out on Thursday night because the significant other and I, we were looking for something Americana to watch the night before the 4th of July. I suggested Napoleon Dynamite. She hadn't seen it since basically when it came out. And she would not stop talking about it all weekend, how good that movie is and how great I am at suggesting movies. So a formal apology to Napoleon Dynamite first and foremost. But now we can talk about the sports stuff. Trevor Story, I owe you an apology. I was familiar with your game, but I wasn't familiar you still had this game left. Trevor Story, I am sorry. I said the Red Sox should have traded your ass for a bag of baseballs 2 months ago. And I was probably right about that at the time. He was the worst qualified hitter in Major League Baseball in late May, but he has turned it around. And so too have the Red Sox to some extent. They sweep the Nationals over the weekend, a series where they don't have to face Mackenzie Gore. So take that with a huge grain of salt. They've won 5 of their last 6 of their last 10. They're now only 2.5 out of the wild card. And they've got a 3-game set with another AAA team, maybe even a AA team, in the Colorado Rockies coming up. And so you get that. You get 4 with Tampa. Then you head into the All-Star break. You're over 500 right now. If you can be over 500 at the All-Star break and when Alex Bregman comes back, that is a big win for the Red Sox. And Trevor Story is a humongous reason why they have turned things around. I don't know when they announce these kind of things, but he's got to be AL Player of the Week. In his last 7 games, he's hitting .480 with a 1460 OPS, 4 homers, 4 doubles, and 15 RBI. Went absolutely nuclear over the weekend against Washington. I don't know why anybody's throwing him fastballs. He's just crushing the baseball right now. In his last 15 games, let's double the sample size. He's hitting .353. His OPS still over 1,000. He's driven in 15 runs in his last 15 games with 4 homers to go along with it. This is the Trevor Story the Red Sox went out and bought 3.5 years ago. They'll never get the full extent of what they bought with Trevor Story. He's a really streaky hitter at this point in his career, and he's always on borrowed time with his injury bug. But the dude is red hot right now, and it's something you have absolutely desperately needed in the middle of your lineup. When you trade Rafi Devers and Alex Bregman is on the IL for as long as he's been on the IL, you needed a power right-handed bat in the middle of that order. You needed it desperately going into this season. You definitely needed it when Bregman goes down. Then you trade Devers. And where is the pop? Abraham Toro, for as good as he's been, he's not a 3-hole hitter for a contending team in Major League Baseball. Trevor Story has filled that in. Man, he has been mashing the ball. He has been tough to pitch to. He's been on it defensively as well, really bolstered the infield defense for the Red Sox, which is suddenly looking pretty good in days when David Hamilton isn't playing or when Romy Gonzalez isn't playing second base. He had a couple errors this weekend too. But Trevor Story has filled in a huge need for this team. And if they go on any kind of run, if they get anywhere near the postseason and stay above 500 this season, it's going to be because of this stretch with Trevor Story. We're going to look back and say, man, the ship really could have sunk in these couple of weeks. And it looked like it was going to, but Trevor Story stabilizing the middle of that order really, really did wonders for this Red Sox team. And if he can keep anywhere near this up for the rest of the season, I mean, if he keeps this up for the rest of the season, he's going to test Judge for the MVP. But if he sticks anywhere near this for the duration of the season and Alex Bregman comes back and eventually is what he was before the injury, then the Red Sox are going to suddenly have a really potent middle of the order, even without Rafael Devers in it. And Trevor Story has spearheaded this thing, but I'd be remiss if I said he was the only one that's bringing this Red Sox team back. Because another guy I was done with a month ago, specifically offensively, was Ceddanne Rafaela. And here's a guy who is having a Trevor Story-like couple of weeks here. Okay, in his last 7 games, let's go with a .391 batting average, a .417 OPS, a OPS of over 1,300 for Ceddanne Rafaela. Okay, couple of homers, 5 RBI, usually batting down at the bottom of the order with 6 doubles in his last 7 days. Let's spread it out to 15 days, okay? He's still hitting .327. He's still got an OPS over 1,000. He's got 10 RBI in his last 15 days and 4 homers to go along with 8 doubles. Ceddanne is mashing, and that's just talking about the offense. He is one of the most valuable defensive center fielders in all of baseball. Somebody tweeted it. One of these pretend Red Sox journalists, I don't know, he's a decent follow, but I don't remember his name, said Ceddanne Rafaela is a blank center fielder in baseball, like number blank. And he actually put up a good argument. Like the way he's been going the last month, there's not many center fielders in the American League anyway that are much better than what Ceddanne Rafaela is putting up. I don't know that there's 4 or 5 that are better in the American League right now for a team that had probably the best center fielder all told in all of baseball last year, Jarren Duran, because I still consider Aaron Judge a corner outfielder. But then again, Duran's playing left this year, so maybe I should consider him there too. But Ceddanne Rafaela is mashing it. And Trevor Story is mashing it. And they're a huge reason why, even against bad teams, the Red Sox are starting to win some games again. I'm not ready to completely give up on this team because I think this AL wildcard race is going to be wide open. I'm not really sold on any of these teams being like surefire postseason teams that are in this wildcard race other than the Yankees, because now Toronto is leading the division. But Seattle, good team, probably better than the Red Sox, but like, are you going to get a second half from Cal Raleigh like you got in the first half? Tampa always feels like borrowed time. It's a lot of games to make up. But behind the Red Sox are the Rangers, who are 2 games under 500, the Angels, who are 3 games under, the Twins, who are way back, the Royals, who are way back. Like, there is absolutely a path for the Red Sox to get that final wild card spot. I'm not more confident than about 10 or 15%, but that opportunity is absolutely there. But Trevor Story has been a huge reason why. So to Trevor Story and all the Trevor Story simps out there, I'm sorry. I was wrong. I don't think you're going to do this for the rest of the season, but I was wrong because I thought that this player was not within Trevor Story at all. I thought it was going to take them trading him somewhere else for him to become a good player again, because that's sometimes what happens with the Red Sox. But I'm sorry, Trevor Story has been killing it. And what will it take for the Red Sox going into the All-Star break for you to have confidence they'll make the postseason? Let me know in the comment section below. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you have not given up on this Red Sox season just yet. We come to you live every weekday, high noon Eastern time, live on YouTube, and then we're available wherever you get your podcasts as well. I'm your host, Cam Stewart. Zach Burke keeps us on the air. Check out the other videos going up on the channel every weekday, talking a lot of Bruins, Red Sox, everything else going on in the world of Boston sports. Before I go, I got a couple of minutes here. I would like to bring in Zach if I could, and I didn't tell him about this, so I'll give him a second to kind of get situated here. But there is something I need to run by Zach, and the fans can see. Sorry, maybe not. The camera's not on in the studio for Zach. Sorry about that, Zach. I just wanted his thoughts.
Well, here, I can do this, and you can still hear me. I'm having to. I didn't know you were gonna pull me in.
Yeah,
so
I didn't plan on
the studio ready for a recording we have later, which included moving my camera. But I'm still here. I can voice of God with you.
Please. I think that's what you can be on this show. Certainly, is a voice of reason, voice of God. We talked about this off the air, but I can't believe I forgot Napoleon Dynamite.
Yeah, no, that is a big one for you to forget.
That's like not even acceptable, you know. To be fair, no. Zach forgot to.
I did. No, I did too. As soon as you texted afterwards, I was kind of like, shit. That wasn't the only one. It was Napoleon Dynamite, and it was.
We said something else.
I'm pulling it up right now.
Okay, because this is not a 2000s movie that I am going to mention to you next that I just remembered, but I did watch half of this movie last night. I think you'll really appreciate it. But
I remember what it was now. Okay.
What is it?
It was The Room.
Oh yeah. Should have had The Room on there. Yeah,
that is for sure. I will absolutely take off Kiss Kiss Bang Bang and put The Room on there.
Yeah,
keep your stupid comments in your pocket.
I would definitely put The Room on there. That's one of my favorite movies ever. Like that's just a fun experience. But Zach, what I found on Tubi free with ads last night, I watched the first half of the unforgettable Major League 3 Back to the Minors.
That's the minor league one, right?
Yeah.
With it's Quantum Leap.
Scott Bakula.
Is the manager, isn't he?
Yes, and the star player is Walton Goggins.
Oh shit! I didn't realize. Well, Corbin Burnson comes back for it too, right?
Yeah. So my God, it's one of those where like. It's not even worth our time to talk about how shit it is because everyone knows how shit it is. But like they pull up and they're supposed to be in the minor leagues and they're playing at like Cape League ballparks. I'm like, This is a high school. Okay. This is crazy. And Scott Bakula doesn't do anything for these players. It's supposed to be like this unifying thing. And all he did was tell his slugger one time to lay down a sacrifice bunt, which he shouldn't be doing anyway. But it's like, we do stuff for the team. And it's like, oh, okay. Or Rube Baker, who's back, the catcher who has this mental block. He can't throw the ball back to the pitcher. And Scott Bakula, the manager, is like, he knows it's a mental thing. And he's like, if you throw one into the stands again, I'm shipping your ass home. Your career's over. I'm like, oh yeah, that's going to work. I know it's 1998, but like, yeah, sure. That's definitely going to work. But the manager, the Twins manager, is like this total douchebag. Like he's clearly the villain character. And he comes to see the AAA team on just a random off day. And he's got this big pinstripe suit on. He's like on the phone the whole time. He's got this great hair. He's a hot shot. And I'm like, that's not a manager. Like that's an agent. That's a GM. That's not a manager. He's in the dugout in Major League Baseball games, just not wearing a hat. Like it's like, that's not a manager.
Nope.
And one of his coaches, who I'm in the middle of the actual game that they play that I stopped.
Oh, against the Twins?
Yes. First off, why is it the Twins? Why is Roger Dorn the GM of the Twins now? That doesn't make
not
any
the
sense.
Indians? Yeah.
It's just okay.
Or Guardians, sorry.
And the Indians at the time.
They were back then.
Accurate. And one of the coaches, I'm like, they flashed to him a couple times. I'm like, I know this guy. Like I'm thinking, Is he the pitching coach in Little Big League? Like, no, I'm just getting thrown off the path because he's wearing the Twins outfit from the same era, uniform, sorry. And it comes to me on like the fourth time they show him. He's the head scout in Moneyball that gets fired. So I'm like, oh, this must have been one of the guys who was a baseball guy at one point and became an actor. But the last thing,
that guy,
he looks, yes, and he looks like a villain. Like he's just slick back hair the way he talked. The last thing is, like, why do we bring Serrano and Kamikaze back?
Yeah,
like there's no. I went back and checked because I haven't seen Major League 2 in a long time. I was like, was Scott Bakula in Major League 2?
No.
Like,
no,
he's not. Like, why does he know these guys? Like, why are they getting the band back together? There's no explanation for why Serrano is there. And they just pick up Tanaka or whatever the fuck his name, whatever racist name they give for him.
Yeah.
They just like pick him up because he's running a putt-putt golf place.
How is
he's like, I'll do baseball again. I'm like, no, fuck.
Isn't there also a Bob Uecker?
Yes, he's the broadcaster for some reason. Like none of it's explained at all.
That happens all the time. How like long staying radio broadcasters will just move from one franchise to another.
It'd go to the minors.
Yeah. I can't wait for Eric Nadel to be like, hey, I've had enough calling these Ranger games, guys. I'm going to Frisco. I'll see y'all later.
Oh my gosh. I'm going to finish that and give a full grievance tomorrow. How about that?
What do you got? Like 20 minutes left?
I think it's more. I'm in the middle of this showdown game, which of course would absolutely happen, where a AAA team would have 2 off days in a row and they would take one of them to face the Minnesota Twins. Yeah. That would definitely happen. Which whatever, like that's a movie. That part, whatever. It's a movie. The rest of this is just like common sense, doesn't make any sense. But anyway, yes, I'll give a full review tomorrow. So thank you, Zach. Thank you guys for tuning in. Get involved in the comment section, like, subscribe. We'll see you tomorrow. High noon Eastern time, live on YouTube, and then wherever you get your podcast on The Cam Show.
Transform your workspace with Hanomi Ergonomics. From adjustable chairs to standing desks, we provide solutions for comfort and productivity, whether at home or in the office. Improve your posture, reduce strain, and work smarter. Visit us at hanomi.co today. That's HINOMI.co today. Experience the future of secure private cloud storage with Internex. Protect your files with end-to-end encryption, ensuring your data stays private and accessible only to you. Enjoy seamless, fast storage without compromising security. Visit Internex.com today and take control of your digital life. That's INTERNXT.com today. Protect your online privacy with NordVPN. Browse securely, access content from anywhere, and keep your data safe with military-grade encryption. Whether at home or on the go, NordVPN ensures your digital freedom. Stay secure. Download NordVPN today at nordvpn.com. That's NORDVPN.com. Tusains, we understand that maintaining a healthy lifestyle can be challenging, especially in today's fast-paced world. That's why our mission is to make fitness accessible to everyone, anywhere. Committed to excellence, we adopt a user-centric approach guided by ergonomics and medical science. With a team of seasoned professionals in R&D, design, and manufacturing, we prioritize quality across our entire product line. Visit Tusains.com today and start your journey to better health. That's TOUSAINS.com.